Okay, what's up CO300? Welcome to week 10 video tutorial. What's going on? I learned last week that I, as an instructor, kind of thrive on questions and person-to-person contact. So thank you for those of you that phoned in for a conference. Looking forward to talking with some of you more. Today I just wanted to answer all the questions that I've been getting, and let's just start with them. Most pressing. We're still working on our research for Friday. How many scholarly resources do you need? I try to find at least 2. You can use Google Scholar, or for fun, I would use Academic Search Premier. If you're still looking to get a big picture grounding in your issue, some of you are, I would see what's on CQ Researcher. Information for Academic Search Premier and CQ Researcher, which are both accessible through our awesome library, is on the LibGuide that I'm going to cut and paste into this document. I'm also going to ask you on Friday I'm requiring a self-assessment this time. Some of you are wondering how to get the self-assessment to me on this last round, which I made optional for potential extra credit. We're going to move forward and do required self-assessments on the major assignments, since we would do required postscripts in the classes, face-to-face classes anyway. So, and just add that to the end of your post. Just label it as a self-assessment. You can reply to yourself in the forum if you want it as a different part. But I'm just asking you, just tell me how well you did, to save me some work and to build some skills on your part. And I'm gonna read it and look at your stuff, but use that as a basis for the grade I'm gonna give you. As I trust you, and your self-assessments have been on part and pretty good for the most part so far. So thank you for that in advance. This is an interesting and good question. How much of our own work can we cut and paste into upcoming assignments? I.e., can I use what I did on Wednesday and cut and paste it into what I did Friday? Or is that not okay? Can I use what I did Friday and cut and paste it into my essay that I'm writing at the end of the semester? Because you said we should start working on our essay. Can I do that? That's a really good question, and this is an example. We are working on this one big advocacy project for the rest of the semester. So your final essay, I'm hoping that the research that you're doing is going to lead into that essay. The better research you do now, the easier it's going to be to write an essay. So in short answer to your question, yes, you can cut and paste from one assignment to the next. I just hope that you take that time to reread what you wrote and make it clearer for your audience by taking words out, creating new paragraphs, reorganizing ideas potentially, bolding certain ideas, something to make it easier for your audience to read, and so that you're getting some practice revising your work. For Wednesday, you have 400 words of reading notes. That's just going to be a checkpoint for your 1,000 words of your narrative of your research, the story of your research for the week. So you can cut and paste, but please revise your work. That's part of what you're getting graded on, what we're working on. Next question. Grading these, grading your research when I'm looking at assigning them. Basically, you're going to get full credit if you demonstrate that you spent 7.5 hours working on them and that you met these conditions. Why 7.5 hours? That's 150 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 450 minutes, which accounts to 7.5 hours. That's about how much you should be doing for a 3-credit course. So if you're not spending about 8 hours a week getting better at researching and note-taking, you're kind of ripping yourself off in this part of the semester as I see it. I'm hoping that you clearly and specifically outline the direction of your research, demonstrate you took the time to find a number of good sources, and so you're representing a number of good sources, and then you show evidence that you revised and edited your writing for ease of access, and you cited your sources within the piece according to your style manual of your discipline, if that's APA or MLA. So that's both in-text citations and a citation at the end. That's to help you make this relevant and helpful for your final essay. That's that. Oh, another question related to that I forgot to put on here. How many sources do you need each week? It's going to depend on what you find. If you find 5 really good sources that only each give you a little bit of information, that's fine. If you find one source, you found a book that you really, really like that's helping you out, and you're reading the book, and so you have just one source on that one book, that's also fine, depending on your situation. That's also why I want a self-assessment, so you can tell me and explain to me what your research is doing in light of your big project. Okay. The other big one here is how does this research connect to your PowerPoint and to your final essay? I got this question from a couple people, and it's a really good one. And we're actually phase 2 of the audiovisual experiment here. Okay, so this is basically the outline of what goes into a good writing process. I wanted to remind you that this is basically this stage of the process, the earliest stage of the process, where you're pre-writing, collecting the words and the ideas that you're going to collect, taking the notes, but you're not just taking them, you're also attributing. That's why you're getting your citations right now, so you don't have to go back and dig for them later. And you're brainstorming where you're going to move forward. This is about 50% of the process, like the most important part of this weight-wise. And this is your project 3. So this is what we're doing for the next 2 weeks. And this is directly related to how you're going to outline your essay, which is going to be project 4. This is your PowerPoint. You're going to give the rest of the class and me your best outline in a visual way, in a 3-minute visual presentation that's going to basically lay the groundwork for you to draft and revise and then edit your essay. Project 5, which is an argument essay. So we're spending a lot of time on this. Estimates, you're outlining, getting that right. Hopefully you're doing that as you're doing this. That should be about 20% of the process. And then this big part is the other 30% of the process. So and this is all the same advocacy project. You are going to advocate for something. Rhinos in zoos, or less one-time plastic consumption, or more psychological training for vet med, or something like that. Okay, that's the big picture. In other news, so basically your research that you're doing is everything else that you're doing. So it's all connected from here on out for the rest of the semester. And I think that's everything. Let's double check here. Oh, right. 2 actual more things. Cover letter feedback. I'm more than halfway done through your cover letters. If you haven't gotten it, your feedback is coming. I'm trying to give you particular specialized feedback on each of them. So if you got a grade in the grade book and you have not looked at the comments in Canvas, please do, and hopefully that answers questions, or at least shows you how I was reading that. And how, if you want to revise them, the best conference I had on this was I asked a student to identify the strongest specific words in their cover letter, and they were kind of throughout the letter, and then encouraged her to put all of those packed in the beginning. So you're really leading really strongly and working on revising that lead and that sales pitch that you're making in that first paragraph. Another question. I've been thinking about interviews and mock interviews, and I had this awesome idea to give you the opportunity to connect with each other and do that if you wanted over the phone. So I'm going to put a link down in the notes in an email to you. And lastly, what have I been up to? Well, thanks for asking. I have been getting into podcasts again, and conversation podcasts, particularly the Good Life Project. The newest episode is on the science and art of listening. It's so good and so relevant to everything that we're doing in this course, and so good and so relevant to the process of interviewing, where they make the claim, is the last thing I'll say, that what you not only want to listen to people when they are talking, so you're giving them the like, I hear what you're saying, you also want to listen to them while you are talking. So when they ask you about something and you're talking, you want to listen to their reactions. They'll let you know if you've been talking too long, if you pay attention to them. I thought that was a really good point and really good way to highlight what you're doing in rhetoric. You're always listening to what the audience needs and trying to adjust based on the feedback that you're getting from them. So if you want to be a good interviewer, actively listen to what they're saying, maybe make little notes about the things that seem important. And when you're talking, you want to keep listening to them by noticing their body language, so on and so forth. And if you're not good at that, you can always ask, is that too much? Do you want to hear more about that, or is that enough? And they'll tell you. It's a sign that you're caring for them. Okay. 1 minute over my 10 minutes mini lecture. That's the updates of everything going on at sean.waters@collegestate.edu if you want to give me an email. I miss you all. Call on the phone, schedule a conference by email if you would like. Okay, bye-bye.